guys, I recently picked up a Consew 206 RL sewing machine. It's a walking foot style for doing automotive or marine style upholstery. I've never really used a sewing machine before. Let's see if we can figure out how to work this thing together. Thanks for watching. This is going to take a little bit of learning on my part. I've used a sewing machine once or twice in my life, but probably not in close to 20 years. I've been watching some videos on YouTube. Imagine that. Someone who watches YouTube to learn new things. And it doesn't look like it's going to be that difficult to pick up. Definitely there's going to be some learning involved here. In the instructions, first thing they say to do is to liberally oil all of the metal on metal contact points. And it gives some not very good diagrams showing where the oil's got to go. It does say in the manual to use genuine sewing machine oil. Genuine sewing machine oil. I actually bought this for my other sewing machine that I have that I've also never used. So fortunately we have some in stock. Let me put you guys on a stand and I'll see if I can decipher what these cryptic diagrams are in the manual and see if we can get some oil spread around where it's supposed to be. I don't know if that was everywhere that I was supposed to get or not. Again, as I was saying, the diagrams are a little on the cryptic side. I probably oiled more places than it indicated in the diagrams, and hopefully I got everywhere that it's going to rub and cause issues. Nice little bit of vinyl that they ran a thread down just to show that it actually worked. But that's not the kind of thread I want to use. Winding the bobbin. Something tells me that I'm going to need to do a little bit of reading here before we get too carried away trying to run this thing. Let me do a little bit of, shall we say, investigating, and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to explain what the heck I'm trying to do. As I say, I'm learning just like you guys are. Well, that certainly took a little bit more messing around than I thought it was going to. The instructions for threading this machine are pretty sketchy in the book. They're not very good instructions. What I ended up doing was going to YouTube. And Tandy Leather has a fantastic series of videos on this sewing machine. They show you far better job of how to than what I can do, and they go through the threading, setting up the bobbin. Although that was easy, I was able to figure it out from the manual. Although it took a bit of getting. There's a clutch knob on the end here that you undo just a little bit so that it doesn't run the whole needle mechanism. And then we just take this little post, flip it over with a bobbin on it. I got another bobbin here somewhere. Take the bobbin, drop it down over the post, feed the thread up into it, flip it over. It engages with the wheel and spins until it fills up. I did have to kind of guide the thread up and down though in order to get the best spread on the bobbin, not just bunched up at one side. I kind of like this thread that they provided with the bobbin. That's nice heavy stuff. This stuff that I got, although it was the size recommended by another upholstery guru on YouTube, I think is a little on the small side. but it'll work. As for how to route all of this through, the top is fairly self-explanatory. You've got your post here that screws in, you go through there, go through this. Now in the book it does show using this guide up here. The video that I watched didn't use this, it just came straight over, and when I ran it through here it seemed a little sticky, so I ran it through. Do the S-turn through this guide around the tension up here. So I got to go through this front hole and then through the needle. The bobbin was a little bit tricky, and for me to describe it to you is, it won't mean anything. Best bet that I can suggest is going to that video that I linked, and they explain how to do it very easily. You run the thread the opposite direction to what you would think, and it clips in, and you hold it and just plunk it in, and all of a sudden it pops up and starts working. So just to try and see how this thing works, let's take and put a piece of paper towel in here. Now, unfortunately, either my table is an inch or two too tall, or the cord on the sewing machine is an inch or two too short. But whatever, we'll make it work. So we'll bring this needle up. We'll bring our workpiece, close the walking foot, and we give it a little bit of gas. But hey, we want to lock the thread, so we pull it back. That didn't work so well. The trick is to follow the same path to lock it in. And that worked better. And you see we're getting some drops of oil, and that was something that the manual suggested doing, was running it. Give it a little bit longer thread. There's a knurled knob here that you run in and out to kind of set your maximum thread. And center is basically 0, and then we back it up. And that locks the stitch so that it can't come undone, if you actually know what you're doing. Pull this out, and we snippy. Interesting. I'm fairly happy with how that turned out, considering we're just getting started. I do have some vinyl. Should we maybe give that a try and see how it turns out? It's black thread on black vinyl. I don't know how well it's going to turn out. I can see well in this lighting, but the camera's not necessarily going to show it. My fancy titanium coated scissors. There's a piece of automotive grade vinyl. Seems reasonably decent. Let's sew an edge in it. So we'll bring the needle down. So now I'm come back for lock. And I'm going to go forward again. Oops, we got a problem. We lost our thread. So we've perforated the vinyl, but we didn't actually sew anything. Comes down. There's a guide here at the front. And with the needle all the way up, and I even got it threaded. Wow. Okay. Let's try this all over again. We'll try sewing another edge. Standard China markers. They're just a grease pencil. But by marking the fold point, that should keep us straight. Okay. Back up. Forward again. Yeah, something went haywire. Maybe one of these days we'll actually be able to have one here that we can use as a demonstration. I'm going to go a little bit further, just for the sake of it. Again, I'll mark it. And we're jammed again. I don't know what's going on here. I think it's that locking. Let's worry about locking things after we learn how to use the machine. Well, it's definitely stitched, not the straightest in the world, and the stitches are a little on the what I would call the tight side. One of the problems with this machine is there's not really a setting on here. You've got your thumb wheel, which jams it forward, jams it in reverse so that your stitch lengths stay the same. Basically, the screws are neutral. But there's no, is this 1 millimeter, or is this 2 millimeters, or is this 5 millimeters? There's no real, other than trial and error, there's not really a great way of setting this. And what I'm going to end up doing eventually is I'm going to find a setting that works for me, one that I'm happy with, and I'm going to end up putting Sharpie mark on there. And maybe it'll be Sharpie Mark 1, Sharpie Mark 2 for different settings or for different stitch lengths. It'll be a, 1, 2, or 3 or whatever common Sharpie marks that I use for different stitch distances. Likewise, in the reverse, I'll end up doing something similar. I guess we can talk a little bit about where this machine comes from. The kind of the go-to home jobber, sewing machine for this type of work is the Sailrite. And I forget the model number, but they're in around the $1,000 mark, $1,000 to $1,500 mark. Quite a bit more expensive. I think this one was right around the $379 or something I paid for it. But and these are U.S. prices I'm quoting. But this is very much a ripoff of the Sailrite, but it doesn't have a bunch of the features. The Sailrite has graduations on here, so you know what you're setting your thread pitch to, whereas this one you've kind of got to do a little bit of trial and error. The Sailrite has a light built into it, and with my LED filming lights I'm having no trouble seeing what I'm doing, but I could definitely see if we were in a darker area, it would possibly be not as much fun. Likewise, I suspect the Sailrite has far better instructions than this Consew. Anyways, that's where this has come from, and it's going to be interesting for me to learn how to do this. This is just a trial. Give it a go, see how it turns out, and learn a little bit. Skill-wise, old-fashioned Auto Upholstery or something, I think is the guy's name of his channel. He's been doing this for 40-some years, and absolutely he would say, don't buy one of these, they're crap. But he's doing it professionally. I'm looking at doing my 53 Ford, and I got a little bit of boat upholstery. My father's got a pontoon boat that needs some upholstery work. I've got some upholstery work for my own pontoon boat. That kind of thing. Is this sewing machine going to do the job? I think so. My other sewing machine, it's what they call a presser foot as opposed to a walking foot. This one, the foot, as you can see, it pulls the material through, whereas on the presser foot, just the bottom teeth move. The top is fixed. And it doesn't really work on automotive upholstery. It works on fabric, great, like it's a commercial sewing machine, but it's not designed for doing vinyls like this. That's why I bought this. Also, it is a non-reversing sewing machine, and as you can see, when you're doing lock stitch, when it actually works, when you're doing lock stitch, it's good to have reverse. Otherwise, you've got to turn around the piece, or there's different ways of doing a lock stitch if you don't have a reversing sewing machine, but by far this is the easiest way of doing it. Well, basically you're seeing what I'm seeing. Let's try and stitch a few more things here on our little sample patch, see what we can do, and maybe we'll try doing something a little fancier. I've been playing around a little bit. You can see the piece is substantially smaller. I've been folding it over and sewing it, and obviously there's a bunch more to be learned there, but between a sample project that I've got picked out, I've got a cushion 24 by 16 by 2 that I want to do up just kind of as like a kneeling pad, try some different techniques. But let's see if we can do a little bit of Well, there's two different styles that we can try. Let's try doing some pleating. We've got some vinyl, we've got some foam, and it's 3/8 of an inch thick foam with a mesh and a thin plastic on the back side of it. And absolutely positively, you're not supposed to use Super 77. You're supposed to use contact adhesive, but I don't have any contact adhesive handy, and I do have some Super 77 handy, so let's shake it up good. Give the foam a coat. Give the vinyl a coating. You're supposed to wait to glue these together, but supposedly when they are soft, both sides are soft, you can just glue them together right away. And mineral spirits, which I have some somewheres but not handy, so don't worry about it, is what you use to clean up, get it off your hands, etc. So just for experiment, we'll mark one inch. So basically I have stripes on there at 1 inch spacing. I'm going to start in just from the edge. Give this a try. And we lost our thread again. What the heck? That seems to be running awful tight. That is a pleat. And when you actually know what you're doing and you're able to make the seams go straight instead of curving like that one does, you've got what's called a pleat. And that gives you a nice texture. You can put it this way on your seat, you can put it this way on your seat. Makes a nice panel. And essentially what you do is you make a panel as big as you need it. If you're going to do a seat back and a seat base, you do them at the same time, one big panel, and then cut them in half so that the pleats line up. And you then build the rest of the flat upholstery around it, and you have to decide whether you're going to use the sew foam or whether you're going to use just the bare vinyl. But that's really neat how that's turned out. Now we're going to try something just a little bit more advanced. Unfortunately, with the widths of what I've done here, it is this is going to be a little bit tricky. But you then can take the pleat, fold it over, so this is what we call tuck and roll. And by putting that extra seam in the back side there, we have made it so that you don't see the seam. It's a little tighter, so it's going to basically, when you're doing this right, you lose about 3/4 of an inch per seam, whereas you don't really lose a whole lot. Let me do one more here, if it'll cooperate. I don't know why things seem so tight there, but they are. And that one we did sew off the side. But what you get when you do this is you tend to get a little bit more of a defined bulge. And as I say, you can't see the seams there, or you can't see the thread. So it's kind of, that's called tuck and roll. That's called a pleat. And that's pretty much the sum total of what I've learned so far doing or watching the upholstery videos. That, and there's a bunch of, making patterns based on the what you've already got, or making patterns based on what you want to accomplish. So anyways, that's about what I wanted to get done tonight. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. And if you got this far, can you give me one of those thumb up, give me a like, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Lots more stuff like this, and also work on the 53 Ford. Hoping to get that flathead Ford V8 broken free soon. And we'll catch you guys in the next mess. Thanks for watching.